Right. We're approaching the entrance to the old Royal Naval College, which is nowadays Greenwich University and one or two other establishments. You can see the replica of the former Cutty Sark. I say replica because the original ship got burnt down mysteriously about 8 or 9 years ago, and they had to build a replica around the metal on the ship. It was a tea clipper and the fastest sailing ship between the Far East and the UK around the 1850s, 1860s time. Many years ago I had some meteorological lessons on board that ship, and that's in the very early 80s when that occurred. So, looking up towards Greenwich Park here, just going into some of the grounds, giving you a slight glimpse of what it looks like to some extent. There we are. Not as busy as it can be obviously in the spring and summer months, but one gets tourists and others all year round. Not so many in the colder or cooler autumn and winter months though. Right. Sadly one doesn't have enough film in to film everything. On a future day with more film I will film longer films, which will be more interesting and show you a lot more than you can see at the moment. So here I'll be able to look towards the National Maritime Museum in the distance there, and then we'll turn shortly and head towards the River Thames, a 205-mile long river from the North Sea to Gloucestershire. Apparently, several thousand years ago, perhaps 5,000 or 6,000 years ago, the River Rhine in Germany and the River Thames in the UK were one and the same river until the land got flooded over. The scenery here has changed dramatically over the last 40 years, with lots of new developments taking place. Greenwich Pier itself has undergone no fewer than 5 different changes or makeovers in design and layout since 1973. So we have it. In fact, in 1973, many of the buildings you see over there didn't exist, and certainly, even 12 years ago, many of the tall buildings you see there, the skyscrapers, certainly didn't exist, except for one, partly obscured now, called Canary Wharf Tower. It's a lot of banks that have their headquarters buildings there now, on former docks, which are half filled in. Right, down in that direction is another view, and in the far distance perhaps you might be able to make out some tall glass-like structure. That's called a shard. That's the tallest building currently in Europe. It was completed about 2 years ago. They claim that you can see ships in the North Sea on a clear day if you go up to the top of it, but I very much doubt that's true. The 1,018 feet, whatever it is, wouldn't give you a view going out nearly 40 miles into the Thames Estuary and the North Sea. And people are foolish enough to pay £30 or $45 for the privilege of going up there and seeing next to nothing except huge areas of Greater London. So we are heading, well, Greenwich Pier, which you can see there. Again, it's dramatically changed, but this new design is not as good as the previous two designs on the site, or even the one that I first encountered in 1973, when I took a then girlfriend, who now lives in Denver, Colorado, called Marie Gulick Hirschfeld now, Marie Gulick Hirschfeld, then Marie Gulick, born in Bradford, Yorkshire, migrated with her sister, brother and parents to Gary, Indiana in 1958 when they were 6. So, although born in Yorkshire, speaks with an American accent, obviously. I last saw her in 2002 for her 50th birthday party, when I visited her and her husband and others in March, early April of 2002. Anyway, here we are, we're heading on to the pier, and a glimpse of the new modern Cutty Sark, etc. A replica of the real thing. You can get pleasure boats here. You can also get the riverboat service, which is like a bus or a train that you pay to travel very fast on. I seldom use the river buses because they're such a nuisance. They're stopping far too frequently one side of the river to the other, picking up passengers rather than just meandering along. One in the distance, next up the O2 Arena, formerly the Millennium Dome. That'll be the end stop for it. They only run between Westminster Pier and here. They don't run the entire length of the river in Greater London. More's a pity. Right.
I've taken the one I took last time.
So, again, as I say, we're still in the Royal Borough of Greenwich, and today is Saturday, the 10th of October. There's modern developments which have been built for the last 20 years over there on the site of 1600 and 1700 Royal Navy dockyards used to exist there on that side of the river. The buildings in the far distance are some 7 miles distant and in central London, or as people in America would say, downtown London. Right, so let's take a little walk around here. I wouldn't bother getting on the Cutty Sark if I was a tourist with lots of money to spend. It's too expensive, far too expensive for what you would see on it anyway. At least I can say I once boarded and had lessons in meteorology on the old Cutty Sark, but that was a long time ago. Occasionally warships will come up here, aircraft carriers and other things and more themselves just around here. The water that you can see immediately in front. But that only happens once or twice a year. Right. Some kind of event going on. Not quite sure what it is. So, here we are. Greenwich. There's a ferry boat on its meandering on its way. The Mercia. Mercia being a geographical region in the west of England, bordering with Wales. Right. It's a dull Saturday afternoon in early autumn in London. There's a market up here, Greenwich Market, an indoor one, which can be quite popular, selling various odds and sods. But I promise you longer, better videos than the ones I'm taking today. Just seeing how this thing pans out before I take longer ones. I have taken longer ones myself before, using other film. But there we are.
I get up in the morning slaving for breakfast, so that every mouth can be fed. He is a light song. Get up in the morning slaving
A white man trying to mimic a West Indian reggae singer called Bob Marley. The long dead Bob Marley. Alright. These things are a new thing, these bollards. Don't know why they're here. Don't serve any useful purpose to my mind, but there we are. Here we are. Just meandering around some of these streets of Greenwich, which are busy in all seasons with tourist people, more so than locals. Other areas of London which I will hopefully show you in the coming weeks. And you can see the contrasts in architecture, types of houses, what exists in general, giving you a better picture of London as it exists in 2015. Do one's best to get into the market if it's open or not.
It is true. Most of the cafes here are expensive because it's a tourist area. London being an expensive city, more so than New York, but nonetheless not the most expensive city in the world. My son's been to Norway in the last 6 weeks or so, and everything there is exceedingly expensive, several times more so than in London. Right, so let's take a little walk here into Greenwich Covered Market. See what we can see. It'll take a while to negotiate one's way through the slow meandering crowds, but one will try to manoeuvre around them.
These jars are 125.
Lots of different things being sold. Different types of exotic foods from here, there and everywhere. Some tasty, some not. Right. There we are. Oh dear. It does seem as if they're knocking down half of this market. Most of the stalls that were here are not. As you can see, there's some work going on there. Oh dearie me. That means that many of the food stalls that used to be down there are no longer around anywhere. But London used to have a couple of hundred street markets and covered markets. It's probably got about 40 now, I think. Many have closed in the last 30 odd years. This one still exists, but not.
It was just a weird situation.
Not as well as it's once or did or was on the hill. So here we are, having a look around at lots of boring stuff, but at least you see street scenes, individuals, what's on sale, etc. Yes. Different fabrics, cheap things. Yes, indeed. So here we are.
Yeah, on the top floor.
Pie and mash.
Cut out 2 days of doing anything.
Traditional London fare, pie and mash, and jellied eels. Right, well, heading out of the market now. And back towards the Maritime Museum. And heading back to St Alfred's Church, where General Wolfe is buried in the crypt. Not that the crypt is open for anyone to go and visit it, which is a pity, but that is the situation. I once met somebody who came from somewhere in Texas, somewhere along the Texas coast, who was a direct descendant of Major General James Wolfe. At one time, when he was a lieutenant colonel, he commanded a Lancashire regiment, the 40th Foot, as it then was known.
They just double the rent on the streets.
So there it is, St Alfred's Church on the hill, looking back down again towards the river. Across. There we are. Right, we're now just entering the grounds. Well, there's bars out there, a bit of crypt obviously. And it's would have been, of course, a major parish church for the Anglican Church for some centuries. Not that many people bother to go to church nowadays. The belief in a God and not being as prevalent as it once was. So now we shall go in. No doubt we shall miss the lunchtime recital. So now we are inside the church. I'll just stay out here. It's very nice all the same. It's the portrait of Wolfe, mortally wounded at Quebec. Well, we've had a quick look at the church inside and of the yard and something that's left of gravestones from times gone by. This is just a small snippet, as it were, on this early autumn Saturday. Grey skies, more's a pity. So, this would have been part of the church's property at one time. It's now known as a small park called St Alphege Park, which will take a little walk around. There's nothing spectacular inside, of course, but it did once form part of the church's grounds and graveyards. And this area was rural, unlike being a busy urban area today. for squirrel I've seen all day, despite the fact that the squirrels live in the housing development where I myself live. Yes. Feral cats, foxes, badgers, squirrels. Quite a menagerie where I live. Now, that's something there. So, go back off, and I'm going to cease filming here. We can film somewhere else a little bit later on.